What's up, YouTube? This is Brian again with the Ecotechnify channel, and I'm here again with Jack Dody. We're going to check out his off-grid, super insulated, tiny bunkhouse that he built himself. All right,
Hi,
Jack,
folks.
take it away.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite buildings. Again, we always repurpose and recycle materials. There were a bunch of old 2x4s that I got when I tore down a deck for one of my customers. And it was plywood, but it was in, not plywood, redwood, but it was in terrible condition. Wouldn't be useful for almost anything. So what I did, I nailed it together and made 4x4s. And this basically is a pole building. I put a 4x4 about every 4 feet. I developed some really interesting things when I built this building. Some friends of mine from Equip Ministries, and that's who I work for sometimes, had gone to Haiti, and almost everything in Haiti is built out of concrete. And they had a real nightmare. The weather was incredibly hot. The donkeys were dropping. They couldn't get the concrete up to the building site, and ended up using high school students because they're easier to replace than donkeys. And they asked me, well, could you design something? Could you build something that didn't require concrete? And I said, yeah, I think we could. There's got to be a way. So this uses a foundation. I call it a floating sand foundation that we developed. There are 4 bags of Quikrete in the whole structure. And so that is a lot more doable. So there are some other things about this building. We use for insulation, and it's highly insulated. The walls are 7.5 inches thick the way it turned out. Are insulated with plastic pop bottles and Walmart bags. And I find that insulation to have an R value just a little better than fiberglass. It's completely inert. It's not organic. Insects don't like it. It's impervious to water. As long as it's in those walls, it'll last 1,000 years. It's great insulation. We also use foil insulation, just regular old tin foil that I buy at the cheapest place I can get it. And what we did is, on the inside of this siding, we took the foil and it's stapled with the shiny side facing out. We put that on the south side, the west side, and on the ceiling. And we cut down 10 to 15 degrees during the hot part of the season just with that. This is an extremely comfortable little structure. The slits that you see on here are what I call African ventilation. In Africa, theft is a terrible problem in so many places in the third world. And we made it small enough so they couldn't shove a 3-year-old in there to unlock the door. Okay, so that worked out real well. Recycled door. It looks like it's sitting, if you see the bottom of it here, it looks like it's sitting on concrete. That's actually a piece of Trek deck material, which is made out of old pop bottles and sawdust, and just made it to finish it so that when I set the siding on there, it wouldn't be setting onto the ground, the wet ground. And that's actually not concrete at all. So, step in here and we'll show you what we got here. Okay, I'm going to open some blinds so we have a little more light.
Oh, yeah.
Forgive us here a minute. Okay, so what we have, this is a bunkhouse, so we have 2 bunks on each side, and you can see I've got lots of junk. Our library here, which is a library and archives of all of about homestead living and how to create a homestead. And great comfortable bed, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the best.
I stayed here. Jack and his wife graciously allowed me to come here to see their place, and I stayed the night in this bunkhouse right here last night. It was really great. They've got the whole place wired up with 12-volt solar and LED lights everywhere, and this place was just really great. The temperature was wonderful. It wasn't too hot in the afternoon, and it didn't get too cold at night, and I didn't even have to use a fan last night, even though it was hot yesterday. So let's hear more about it from Jack.
Right. Let's take a look at that 12-volt system. People always ask me, they're living on the grid somewhere in America, and they say, man, I'd like to get off the grid. I hate to pay that utility bill. Well, that's a $30,000 to $50,000 operation to do that in a regular old house. So I say that's probably doesn't make a lot of sense for most folks. If you're going to live out in the country like we do, it can be very profitable. But in town, probably not so much. But it's really nice to have a little auxiliary solar setup that you can have, so when the wind blows and knocks down the power, or the snow knocks out the power, you can have some LED lights. You can have a place to plug in your phone and your computer so that you're not sitting in the dark. And that costs anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000. And that's basically what we have on this unit. Now it powers everything. We have 2 golf cart batteries, and we have all fused, and it's all safe. This is all in the training manual, the Abundiculture training manual. It tells you step by step how to do this whole thing. Super simple. And the nice thing about 12 volts is it's really hard to kill yourself with 12 volts. So
That's important.
That's important.
When you're doing it yourself, you
Yeah.
want to make it hard to kill yourself.
We tell you exactly what to do. And if you follow the instructions, you can do this system for, like, say, anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000, depending on what you decide you want in it.
So you get independence from the power grid, and you do it yourself, and it's cheap and a low risk of death.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you can beat
What
with
can
that.
you say?
Yeah, you can't beat that.
Yeah. So we use all the same principles that we use in our bigger house. We have a catch water. We catch the water off the roof. And we have a little RV pump. So we have a pressurized water system. Now this is something kind of unique. For my missionaries, it's really hard to have a safe hot water system in many countries. The stuff that you would see there, you'd say, man, I don't want to take a shower. So what we did here, this is a little submersible pump. We simply fill the sink up with water that's already preheated to the temperature that we desire, put the pump in there, and then we go in here to the shower. Now remember, this is all 12 volts, so it's very safe. You don't do this with 120 volts or 240. So what we have here is our little shower. We have a switch right here, and we can turn on the pump. And the pump, we have a nice powered shower, and that's how we can have a nice hot shower. And I love my hot shower.
Oh, yeah.
Now, here again, we have the composting toilet right here.
Uh-huh.
Just a 5-gallon bucket. Okay. And
With the ventilation fan, right?
ventilation fan, always put a ventilation fan real close. When you're using the toilet, obviously you're going to want to take care of those odors. And the ventilation fan only has to be on for just a few minutes. Okay.
And I did use this toilet, and I can confirm odor was minimal, if not non-existent. So I can
we
tell you
don't
from
have-
experience.
With the sawdust toilets, if you build them properly, you do not have odor problems. Now here's the thing that I found. I don't want to disparage anybody slick, fancy schmancy composting toilet, you know, the plastic ones that are all formed and you have things you crank. and
Oh,
all
like
that stuff.
Nature's Head and all that.
All those are, you know, wonderful ideas. Unfortunately, they stink. Literally. And I've never found one that didn't. I've never found a sawdust toilet that was properly built that did stink. So the odor problem is solved here. Super simple, no moving parts. Total cost of about $5 for the bucket. And then if you have to buy the wood and stuff, maybe $30, $40 total. And you've got a sink. We've been using ours for 20 years. We've used the same buckets for 20 years.
Wow.
So we store them out of the sun so they don't crack and get brittle. But still, same bucket, 20 years. It's just flawless. It just works.
Yep.
So this thing, I talked about the fact that we insulated it with pop bottles and plastic. LED lights, solar, complete unit here costs about $7,000.
The whole house.
Whole thing.
Wow. And
Now
how
that means
you
I did the labor.
and you just have I don't know if the viewers could see on the video, but when we were outside, there's one panel powering this place, right?
Yeah, it's just a 135 watt panel.
Yeah,
On
that's
this
all
one.
it takes.
And that's all it takes. Never been without power in this little structure. Now, if you're going to be, you know, using a blow dryer, and a lot of the ladies, you know, like to have that. In our house, if you're going to have a small solar setup like this, if you're going to live on that entirely, then you definitely want to have a small generator, a gas-powered or propane generator that you can use for those times when you need the extra power. Like when my wife's sisters come for a visit, you know, it's just you hear this sucking sound in the power grid. And so what we do is we just fire up the generator. I don't fight it. I just say, okay, girls, knock yourselves out, plug in everything you can think of. You know, they got that 5-gallon bucket, oh beauty, and they go to work. And so that, you just take that into account. If you have kids, if you have teenage kids, you're going to have to up the size of that system. Here, we just have my wife and I living here. And of course, in the bunkhouse, it's just guests for a few days at a time. So our electric demands are small in those situations. When you have kids, the demands go up very quickly. Okay, so you just learn these things. We're glad to consult with anybody. We'll talk to you on the phone. We'll email you, and if you have questions, just give us a call. All that information is in the training manual, and we're happy to consult with you and just tell you what we've learned in our time here. Because what we want to see is more and more people living the homestead life, having more reliance on God and less reliance on somebody to take care of them. We're glad to take care of ourselves, and that's what we're working toward with God's help.
And it feels good to be able to take care of yourself, right?
Well,
not rely on the man or anything like that.
There's nothing worse than not taking care of yourself. I mean, it destroys a person's incentive. It destroys his spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And what we want to do is, we want to enjoy life, and part of that is working. And
right.
Making work that really makes sense and actually profits you, and not necessarily everybody around you. Now, it's okay if they're profited too, but some of that profit needs to come to me if I'm doing all the hard work.
Right.
And when you build your place, there are a few things you can do that will help your bottom line finances more than building your own home. And this is not rocket science, folks. You can do this. They're simple structures. And so I encourage people to consider that option. You'll start out by saving yourself about $500,000 when you consider interest and so forth.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Jack, for showing
bet.
us the bunkhouse. Yeah. Take it from Jack. If he can do it, you can do it. He's living it. He's doing it in real life. He's not just talking about stuff he read in a book. He even did it himself, and then he made his own book. So you can go find that. We've got it in the link down below. And yeah, thanks for checking this out, guys. See ya.